Hello, everyone, and welcome to almost my last panel of Ministravaganza. I got one more with closing ceremonies. Woo, woo! It's been an amazing 3 days, and this one's going to be pretty exciting. We're full of surprises here. At least we were. If you were with us on Monday evening, Dallas might have spoiled one of the surprises a little bit during the hobby hang accidentally. So maybe it's not as surprising as it would have been. But I'm very excited because I have two brand new characters for Star Wars Legion to show you off today. We're going to be putting some paint on them. These are characters that we've seen a lot of interest in, a lot of questions asked about. The first one, of course, we teased at last Ministravaganza. That is Ahsoka Tano. You're finally going to find out which version of Ahsoka is coming to Legion first. Spoilers, it is Fulcrum from Rebels. So this is going to be the Rebellion version of Ahsoka as an operative. We're going to be starting with her, and then probably after that, you can't have an Ahsoka without an Asajj. I've got Asajj Ventress as well, who's coming for the Separatist Alliance. We're going to look at her miniature for the first time ever, and we'll talk very briefly about kind of what these characters are poised to do, how they fit into their factions in the game. But overall, this is just kind of like a first reveal look at the characters themselves, so we're not going to go super deep into any kind of rule spoilers or anything like that. So if nothing else, you can take a look at what's coming, and we will jump in and start getting some paint on them because they deserve to be painted. So I've got Ahsoka up first. Very first thing I want to do is kind of find my colors. Maybe a wolf gray or something. Not a ghost gray. That's not blue enough. There we go. Somber gray. This will work well. All right, so both these characters will be coming out a little later next year, so look for them in like Q2 currently, I think there. So this is a pretty, this is a very far-reaching preview in some ways, which is why it's a surprise. And of course, they're so far in the future that you'll notice that these little lightsabers quite aren't straight, and that's because this is actually a resin Paintmaster copy. So a lot of the miniatures that we actually paint for the box, because they're done well before the plastic is even ready, they're done in resin. So we do resin masters of the miniatures, which get the paint on them, and that typically means that things that are done really well in hard plastic, like lightsabers, may not always turn out perfectly in resin. So forgive the little bendiness, that is just due to the material, but if we didn't show off them in the resin, then you wouldn't get to see them at all. So I think like it's a fair trade. I'm just going to start here with some somber gray. I'm going to start knocking out some colors on Ahsoka, doing her under tunic basically first. So we're going to get in here, get the somber gray going. Bloop. But both Ahsoka and Asajj were pretty fun and interesting to do together. They have some pretty strong parallels to each other in terms of their fighting style. They both use Jarakai Mastery. They both have the double lightsabers, so their melee attack pools are gross. They utilize dodge tokens pretty heavily with that as well. All right, her gloves are also this little gray color. Come back in here and fix it, Summer. This Ahsoka is not compatible with Galactic Republic because this is Ahsoka when she's working with the Rebellion, at least with the very early stages of the Rebellion. Don't worry, don't fret. There's plenty more Ahsoka action on the way. So even though Rebellion Ahsoka is first, you will see Republic Ahsoka and probably Ahsoka's because there's so much good ground to cover there between her Padawan days, between her Commander days. We're going to see Ahsoka appearing in a couple different spots. This Ahsoka is not the Mandalorian Ahsoka. That Ahsoka is a lot older. This one was definitely completely based off of her appearance in Rebels, her abilities, her command cards, all that stuff. Very much indicative of what we see in that show. So she's not quite the older, wiser, I don't know, I'll put wiser in quotation marks because she seems a little aggressive in The Mandalorian for sure. She's on a mission. And we felt, and part of the reason that we wanted to start with this version of Ahsoka first is, Republic had just gotten a lot of influx of new units and stuff from Wookiees and the Kashyyyk wave. We have some other cool stuff on the horizon for the Republic as well. And we just thought it would be a neat addition for the Rebellion army to have a cool version of Ahsoka, and so we decided to go with that first. What else we got? Why would Ventress be in Shadow Collective? I don't know, she wouldn't be. Separatist Alliance. Both start with S's, I guess. I suppose there's an argument that if she wasn't like Sith Assassin Ventress, maybe as a mercenary bounty hunter, you could try to argue that her inclusion into Shadow Collective might make sense, but I don't think there's anything currently in the Star Wars story to back that up. Who knows? I'd have to dig into it though. Texture in her boots. That's just the spray pattern. There's no actual texture there. It's just the spray pattern of the Zenith. So you're seeing the black and the white speckle. Once we get paint on it, it should be pretty smooth. Should be a pretty smooth. Okay, let's see. Where are we going next? Her leggings are like a brown purple. Okay, we can do that. And we'll take some charred brown and a little bit of this. Nope, that's violet ink. Oh, this royal purple. Let's try that. Make a brown purple here really quick. Do our best to kind of get into it. Boop, 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 doop, boop, doop, boop, boo. Be a fun little test to see how far we can get on. She does have a command card that's titled I Am No Jedi. It is her 1 pip. So, wish granted. Boop. Sorry. There you go. Do the whole thing. The whole shebang. That reference probably doesn't mean anything to so many people now, because I don't know where you would see that show anymore. Well, that's a little more purple than brown, but we'll fix it later. I'm okay with it. I'm not going to sweat it too much. But each of these characters, both Ahsoka and Asajj, come with 4 command cards. So there's a little bit of variety. Each of them has a team-up command card. Which allows players to kind of reenact some of the cool moments in the shows. Have a little bit of narrative if you want to run them as operatives alongside their fellows. There's some fun differences between the two as well. Though they both use Jurakai, they're both pretty heavily dependent on dodge tokens and dodge token generation. They kind of do things differently. Ahsoka obviously is much more protectory. Asajj is much more murdery. So like I said, they were a fun pair to kind of work on and design together because of their similarities and their differences. Yeah, there's definitely, I think, plenty of room for a more mercenary, like solo Asajj. That was not the version that we wanted to lead with, though. We definitely wanted the very much, the very clearly Asajj that you see in like the Clone Wars movie, which started like the whole show, and then like season 1 and stuff. So she's very much Dooku's apprentice in this version. That's going to hit Legion first. She's very much the Sith assassin, so she believes in the cause. She's kind of all in on it. But absolutely, you know, like with many characters, especially ones that have such good storylines. We talked a little bit about this with The Mandalorian and the Child. Ahsoka and Asajj, they have couple different iterations that'll be great to get to and very fun to see at some point. Let's do the belt that way too. No, there's no rules today, so sorry. This is just a very early reveal of the fact that these characters exist. They're so early, in fact, that I don't even have a real plastic miniature to paint. I'm painting one of the super rare Paint Masters in resin. So, but because we kind of teased Ahsoka, especially at last Ministravaganza, we thought it would be pretty fun and timely to show her off in the process of this Ministravaganza. And as an added bonus, because we're full of surprises, we have an Asajj too. It's not really metallic in the show. Tinny tin. Tinny tin tin. I would definitely need shipping details to ship her anywhere. I would also need somebody to definitely remove Simone Elliott from tackling me to the ground as I tried to send this thing anywhere, because that would definitely not work out well for me. This pack's like done. Our little leg things are kind of multicolored, but these are definitely more of the metallic. Yeah, we don't talk about jade. Kind of like Bruno. I'm not gonna sing the song, but we don't talk about Mara. This part is kind of like this. So there. And then, of course, we got to do these little flappy flap panels. No, I said we don't talk about Mara. We definitely talk about Armada. Dallas talked about Armada when he did the Rapid Reinforcements paint stream. Oh. Yeah, there's absolutely more Galactic Republic stuff coming. There's more Imperial stuff coming. There's more everything. Everybody's going to get stuff. Promise. We've got some really cool things coming for Galactic Republic. They're going to get a brand new commander alongside the wave that includes Asajj and Ahsoka. So you will be seeing some new stuff, and that pack is really cool. Was a lot of fun to play test and develop, but you're going to have to wait to find out what it is. I mean, there's so many different options for commanders in Galactic Republic. You could throw all the names out there, and any of them could be possible. Literally anything is possible. You got all the clone commanders, you got all the Jedis, you got, I don't even know what else. Maybe a new Padme. Can I talk? I mean, clone commandos are pretty cool. They're Dallas's favorite version of clone armor. So I think they're pretty neat. I enjoyed the game. Republic Commando. I wasn't very good at it because I never switched my ICWS blaster pretty appropriately. So, I struggled there, but it was all right. Okay. Well, I'm running out of time. I guess I should probably try to get her face a little colored. We're not even going to get close to finishing this miniature, though. Because I got to get Asajj out. We got to be full of surprises. Or, try to be full of surprises. Let's see, what do I got for Ahsoka face color? Doop. It's really orange. Let's see how that goes. I don't have any paint on my brush. It's just water. If you lick the paint, then you've done it real wrong. Real wrong. Does Asajj have hair? No. As a Sith assassin, she wouldn't have hair. I like your spunk that the surprise would be an AT-AT. I mean, we all want it. Everybody's with you. An AT-AT would be magnificent. Not quite there yet, though. Oh, I got a little fuzzy on my poor mini. Oh, well. Oh, well. We'll pick it off later. This is the Rebel version, yep. And this is Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum. So she is a new Rebel operative. She'll release next year. Here in a second, I'm going to pull out Asajj Ventress, our other full of surprise character. We're going to take a look at her sculpt for the absolute very first time, just like we did with this version of Ahsoka here. Shoulders. I might be able to get most of this loosely base coated before we jump away. Yeah, I mean, I think an AT-AT obviously would be super cool. It would probably be a grandiose piece of terrain for most games, and then you'd have to have some kind of special rules governing it, because obviously it's not going to be able to move along the table in any meaningful way on a 6-foot. But I think that's part of the fun. Not everything has to be usable in every standard game. Sometimes it's just cool to have cool things, have options. We'll get there someday. But one of the most fun things about working on Ahsoka for Legion for the very first time was just getting to work with Simone and watch her face light up with unabashed glee every time we cammed Ahsoka or talked about the pose or brought up artwork. And Preston did an amazing job on all of the card art for her. Her command cards are fantastic. I Am No Jedi being the #1 pip. It's a very cool piece. That awesome scene where she confronts Vader in the Sith temple. Kind of recreated that for the command card art. It's dope. Looks really cool. She will not have multiple pose options. She doesn't have options in general. It's just, this is Ahsoka. It's not really a whole lot of posing you can do. It kind of comes back to the discussion we had about Din Djarin and the struggles we had in trying to get both the rifle and the blaster pistol pose to work. Your physiology, your anatomy and your physiology, your pose and everything changes so much based on how you're standing and what you're doing, that we wanted a really strong, we wanted to evoke that strong, confident Ahsoka pose that we see so much in Rebels. Boop-a-doo, boop-a-doo. Okay, so let's go ahead and really quick just loosen this up. I'm just going to get these blue marks in there, which kind of mimic the shirt, the tunic thing. Just because I kind of want to get close-ish. Finishing her off. Yep, those are blue. Perfect. Then let's get over to the second version. Boop. Boop. We go back here and we just kind of like pretend we know what's going on. I think in the most of the versions I've seen, she kind of has like little swoopy lines like this. We can make that prettier. Prettier later. I think this was another. All right. Well, we got kind of close. We got 30 minutes left. We're going to move over to Asajj, though. Bow. The rig that I'm using is it's a mic stand. It's literally just a mic stand. It's even got the little like spit cover, which would go here if you were using it as a mic stand, but we use it as a backdrop. But it's just a general old mic stand. So there we go. There is Legion Asajj. Again, so far ahead of time that this is a Resin Master paint copy, so her lightsabers are a little thicker. They didn't bend. They didn't curly Q quite as much. Yep, and that was one of the big things about working on this character and for Legion was that obviously Legion has a much more realistic tone to it. It kind of evokes the scenes from the movies. It's not stylized very heavily. And so we did a lot of work on trying to figure out what that meant for Asajj, who you've only ever really seen from like official Star Wars media stuff in the Clone Wars cartoon. So we had a lot of discussions and back and forth with LFL about the likeness and her face and how her features would be and trying to make her match what we kind of think of when we think of the animated Clone Wars series, but also have that realism to her. Yeah, and the facial markings on Asajj are not sculpted, so if you want those, you just have to use a little bit of patience and steady brush, and you can paint them right on. Oops. So we're just going to start with some Leander's gray and get that kind of bluer tone there, and then we'll come back in and bring it out. I don't have much of a reference for her, so remember what is open on the battle dress and what is not. That, and I think she's got this, and then she's got the gloves, right? So I think I'm doing it right. I could stop to look, but what fun would that be? hands. This Asajj is a separatist. She is a separatist operative. Ahsoka is a rebellion operative. They're not mercenaries. This is Asajj from the Clone Wars movie and kind of the season 1, well, season 2 before the betrayal happens. So she's very much an agent and apprentice of Dooku, a leader of battle droids on her secret missions. That was always funny to me. They always gave the assassins so much command authority in the army. It wasn't very assassin-y. Didn't feel very assassin-y to me. Okay. Violet ink, yes. Not dark blue. There's got to be a purple in here somewhere. I feel like there was a purple. Just going with the royal purple. Why not? Seems fine. Do a little bit of that. Do a little bit of this. Hold on, I'm going to pull up my reference here. Blau. Both of the characters are operatives, not commanders. Okay, I'm just mixing up a quick little purple wash, and then we're going to go. Oh, it's pretty strong, but that's okay. That's working like I want here. Let that zenith do a lot of work. One of the things that I really love about this sculpt is it has this great stylized kind of cloth that takes washing and paint so nice. Definitely one of the moves that we're doing. You know, we talked a little bit earlier about flight stands. And the active decision on the Dark Trooper is not to utilize flight stands, but instead to utilize special effects and all of that to... We don't want to do our little bandages. To get those miniatures off the ground and into the air. And another really big kind of like movement in terms of just the overall design aesthetics and style is the cloth. Making sure that cloth design is a little bit less soft in terms of its like folds and its texture, and instead doing a little bit more stylization on the miniature side. So those lines are sharper, the folds are sharper, and what that does is obviously, we believe it makes for a better looking miniature at scale, but it also makes painting the cloth much, much more painter friendly, because you can do things like I'm doing here, where you can hit that cloth with a wash over a zenith, and it really takes the wash well. It really helps define the areas of shadow and light, and it's just very painter friendly. So, you know, you get a much nicer looking miniature on the tabletop because it's easier for the eye to read. It's easier for the painter to paint. Let's see. Bandages, those things. Great. Okay, we're doing it right. Yay! I love it when I do it right. This wave's going to be kind of currently scheduled for Q2-ish of next year. Spring, effectively. So we're pretty far into the future with this preview, which is why it should kind of be surprising as well, because we really haven't talked too much about it. You know, we did mention Ahsoka's name during the last Ministrav panel, that she was confirmed to be coming, but that was actually even before we'd started work on her. We'd just put her on the schedule. So she was just a little twinkle in the eye, but definitely guaranteed to be winding up in Sculpt. And it just so happened that we had the Paint Master Minis in, and we thought it would be fun point in time to show these cool characters. It's all relative to your perspective. For us, Q2 of next year is like already come and gone, because that's just kind of how we have to operate so far ahead. I mean, we're already working on stuff past next year at this point. Because, you know, we talk about our timelines a lot and how much work and effort it takes to get these incredible miniatures and things done. And it's a 24-month cycle if we have the amount of time we want to do it really well. You can do some things a little shorter, but every time you shorten that timeline, you potentially run the risk of sacrificing something or, you know, causing problems for yourself down the line. So it's never a good idea to do it too many times, but when it has to be done, you can do it sometimes. You just have to make sure that, you know, the need is truly great. It's like in Rogue One when they send out, you know, the Blue Squadron to go attack the base and potentially reveal their location. They don't do it lightly. You do it only when it's grave. I mean, as far as Armada goes, the last thing we had in terms of things to show at the time is rapid reinforcements. So that obviously released, and Dallas did a little stream showing folks how to potentially some fun ideas on how to repaint their ships. We have the Summa All Things, which I believe will be at Gen Con as one of the events you can sign up for. So if you want to take a look at that, and you're going to be in Indianapolis in like 3 weeks. I believe they're running the Summa All Things there. So you can check out that new scenario and organized play kit. If you're not going to be at Gen Con, I believe that kit comes out in October? Probably, maybe September. I think October. So it is on its way. And then outside of those things that have been announced, we of course have Worlds coming back for all the games. Interesting. I'm not going to follow that because I think that's going to be too samey same. So we're going to cheat. I'm going to go off book for this girl, and we're going to do her belt. She's one pose as well. And then, like I said, Worlds will resume for all the Star Wars games, including Armada, at Adepticon 2023. And then the cycle will basically kick off from there for the next version of Worlds, and all the Star Wars games will see tournament kits for stores, retail support kits, for in-store play, that kind of stuff. We're we're working currently to get reprints and that stuff like we talked about several months ago, I think. I don't remember the last when we talked about the reprint work, but you know, making sure that really core Armada stock is back in print and available. It's been another one of the big pushes. I know there's been some issues with that as well, so. But it's still very much like we announced initially. There's no big major news for Armada at the moment. There's no major development or product stuff that we're ready to announce, so it's still very much in our minds and we discuss it internally. Week to week. Oh, I missed that part. I know, there's a little gap. It's day 3, bear with me. My eyes are going a little cross-eyed. Here, we fixed it, sort of. My paint's getting a little dry. There, I think I got it all now. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention, chat. That's it. I wanted to see if you were paying attention. Okay, what do we want to do for a skirt? I'm going to cheat on this again too, and maybe use a little bit of this tinny bits. I know that the skirt actually isn't like all bronze, but this is just going to make it way easier and quicker because we don't have a ton of time here. So we'll kind of just do that, and then I'll get that fold that I missed because I see now that I missed a fold on the skirt. Yeah, it does. Well, a year and a half is, I mean, for those talking about timelines in chat, a year and a half is kind of the minimum. The ideal is 24 months, which is 2 years, is what you really want. Because, yes, you can have a sculpt. A sculptor can make a sculpt pretty quick. You know, it's very variant on it's dependent on the sculptor themselves, right? Some sculptors are faster, some sculptors are a little slower. Quality of the work, revisions, making sure that things go through muster, all that. You can do that. It doesn't take 2 years to make a sculpt by any means. But that's like step 1 of 1,000, because once you have the sculpts, you then have to make sure that the sculpt is producible, because it doesn't do anybody any good if you have a beautiful sculpt that can't be engineered and cut into tooling and plastic and then replicated over and over and over again, right? It's kind of like scientific research in a way. Just because it worked once or it works in these very specific conditions doesn't necessarily mean that it's proven science fact, right? It has to be repeatable. And that's what Marco and his team of engineers really work on. And, you know, it's a huge craftsmanship thing for them to kind of figure out. And each sculpt is a little different and poses its own challenges. And there are definitely changes that have to be made. And, of course, you're also talking about every time you make a change or you have to do something, you got to talk to our partners at LFL to make sure that they're okay with it, that it's still representing the character in a way that they're comfortable with and that they feel is true and authentic to the experience. It's not point and click, you know. When you're doing it, the way we do it officially and fully, there's far more steps in the process, you know? Well, I think we all know and understand that when we turn on a light in our house, there's a lot more that goes into it to make that light work than just the bulb or the switch or anything else, right? There's a whole perfect system that occurs that we may never see and we may never fully understand, but it happens. And it's kind of the same with everything, you know? Go into a grocery store and take just 5 seconds to think about everything that has to happen to get that grocery store filled with that much food. It's mind-blowing. Manufacturing, supplies and logistics, all that stuff. It's very different. And the scale is very different. So you always have to be careful when you start applying what you think is true based on false equivalencies. And like Dallas Kemp says, we are always on the hunt for amazing, talented engineers and sculptors. So if you've got a revolutionary way to do things that will make the process faster or make us better, send an email. Holy cow. We would love to talk to you because all we ever want to do is improve. And in my experience, the best way to improve is to always be open to learn from other people and always be curious about things. So that's what we try to do. All right, let's see. Let me remember our girl Asaj's facial tattoos here. So we got the 2 down the mouth. Okay. I think we can do this. I think I can fudge this. I think I can fudge this pretty good. So let's see. So we're gonna come here. And we're gonna come over here. And I'm going to clean that up. There we go. Tighten that up. Tighten that up in a second. Then we have kind of that one. We have kind of this one. And then we have the 2 right here. Shoop, shoop. That. Purplish eyeshadow, because her underlids are usually pretty purple. Do that, and then we'll mix a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Doop, 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 doop. Lighten that up. It really just depends on where in the process things are. As far as like card corrections and is it going to be a RAD or FAQ? Is it going to be something else? You know, we try to catch everything possible. We have multiple external proofers. We've got all the play testers. We do many internal passes, but the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, you're never going to be perfect. And while we always try to improve processes and figure things out to be better, things slip by. And then we always analyze and try to figure out how the best way to adjust those is. Let's see, without having a reference directly in front of me, I'm not 100% on, oh, I broke it. Tattoo, but That's about right. I think I'm just going to sharpen this one up a little bit. And they won't match, but that's okay. All right. Hit that. Do that. I just want to get rid of this. There we go. A little, like, chunky bump there. I don't know where that came from. Right overhead. Upper lip. Really accentuate those really sharp features she has. There we go. All right. No, I'm gonna grab my purple. I'm just gonna edge this tabard in my purple, I think. So much more work on you to do, girl. But that's okay. I think we've accomplished our goal in showing off the world that you exist and are coming and are super cool. And there's more info on the way in the future. And many more surprises in store. Yes. Yes. All right. Let's see. Do I have anything else that I want to do in the last 6 minutes? Maybe. But I would have to be able to find the paints that I want. And there we go. There's no guarantee that'll happen. Let's use a little gray. Thin out with a little bit of water. See if we can't get a little bit of definition on these wraps. Woo! So dark. Do. Gungans would be too OP, especially with Jar Jar. Talk about the design thoughts about not bringing back some of the upcoming ships via reprints. Well, I mean, currently, we're just starting the reprint process. So I don't know if we can say that anything has been determined as not coming back through a reprint. There's a possibility that that might be the case. And I think part of that is based on a lot of different factors, including, was the ship even popular? Is it a ship that maybe has been removed from the continuity of Star Wars? You know, there's multiple different things. Is it a fan favorite ship? I think at that point, you'll probably wind up seeing it come back in reprints. Is it critical to the faction and can't be replaced in any other way? You know, there's so many questions holistically that you have to look at in regards to a question like that. Nothing's off the table, but just because nothing's off the table doesn't necessarily mean everything is guaranteed, right? So that's just part of the expectations. We're working on reprints. If you watched the X-Wing panel on Thursday or caught it on video on demand or whatever, you'll know that we have announced 3. There are several more beyond that. And that process is going to continue. But yeah, there's a possibility that not everything winds up getting reprinted. Before we started working on the reprints, nothing was getting reprinted. So, I mean, you know, it's kind of Schrodinger's cat. Everything is possible until you know it isn't. And nothing's happening until you know it is. It's just kind of how it has to work, right? But I wouldn't spend a lot of my, personally, I wouldn't fret a ton yet about things that may or may not be coming back, because we haven't announced what those things are. We've announced what's coming. That's it. Everything else, still on the table until we say it isn't. It's kind of the best I can give you, right? We have plans out through, just started working on 2027 for all the lines. You know, that's how far ahead we try to plan and work to improve our processes and make everything smooth and, excuse me, be the best that we can be. So there's a lot we haven't even spoken of. There are things that are super secret, whispers, not even whispers. There are codenamed things. There are things that Summer doesn't even know about. We have secrets from Summer. I know, on purpose. There are things that Dallas doesn't even know about. There are things that only Simone and I know about. There are probably things I don't even know about. Right? Like, that's just the nature of how far out and long our production process is and how far our thought processes are. So I know, and I would love to live in a world where, like, I could just do my I Dream of Genie Blink and everyone's greatest wishes would be granted right away and we could all live in happy joy. Before I quit, I have to paint her lightsabers. So let's do this. Because I got to paint the lightsaber. So we're going to start with this sweet orange that I mixed up for Ahsoka's skin, actually. Then we're just going to throw some red over it, and it'll hopefully go as a nice little Sith-y looking lightsaber. But we can't do that, obviously, you know? Like, we can't make everybody happy and give them everything they want right when they want it. Sometimes, you know, infinite timelines, we might get there. I doubt it. Because people's desires and wants shift and alter. So we do our best to do everything we can that we think is best for all the game lines and for the studio so that we can continue to exist. That's really important. You know, if we do things just to do them, but they don't work out, and then that makes the studio suffer, it makes all the games suffer, right? It's a holistic thing. And it's not always the most fun feeling to have to work that way, but, you know, you make decisions and I'm going to turn on this hairdryer that's not plugged in. Why isn't it plugged in, Summer? I know why. Pagani stole it. Yeah. All right. But, you know, you're always analyzing and looking at things and doing everything you can that's going to be healthiest and best to make sure that, as I've stated so many times before, but is absolutely the truth, that we accomplish our mission of not only making these games exist, but that we make these games thrive and grow and continue on well into the future. There. We didn't get the saber hilts done. Bad on me. I'm out of time. I'm 1 minute over. So, but there we go. There's our Asajj. She came together quite a bit quicker than our Ahsoka. But that's okay. We got paint on both. They're both coming. Pretty exciting. I'm excited to continue to plug away at that Ahsoka and make her look good. I'm sure she'll show up on a stream at some point. With that, thank you so much for joining me. I don't know what's happening next. X-Wing repaints? Oh, join Michael Plummer, Dallas Kemp, and Simone Elliott for some pretty exciting X-Wing repaints that you can help choose. They're going to be doing Z95 clone Z95 headhunters in community choice colors. Specifically, pick a Jedi. They'll pick one of the Jedis that is suggested, and they're going to go ham on creating that color scheme on their Clone Z95. So check that out. It's going to be right next. Thank you for joining me. I will see you guys at closing ceremonies. Till then, have a good one.